Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I am Nipasa Pradhan, and thank you so much for joining us here. Before we start off, I have this very important disclaimer, and that is by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. Thank you so much for joining us, folks out there. This is Daily Immigration Dose, which we come up with here on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show from Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you so much for joining us. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also on X. So please feel free to join us. And, you can not only comment to join, you can also call us to join us in this conversation. And you have to do is 425, dial in this number 425 436 6335. And when they ask for the access code, dial 988 888. And yes, you just have to say hello after that. I'll be able to hear you. But another best thing is that Daily Immigration Doors is what I host not alone, but also with my co host Sam. So, hi, Sam. I hope you're there. And thank you so much for joining us, joining me today. And I'm looking forward for our conversation.
Hi, Napasa. It's really great to have you with me again. And hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And, we are really excited for today's episode. And today we are going to talk about visa interviews. Did it go as planned? So, Napasa, I think it never goes as planned. Not only the visa interview, but everything, even the trips and all the holiday plans that we make. It
I
really
feel like the more you plan, the more, things don't turn out to be as they should be. So it's better when you just go with the flow.
And as we say that unplanned trips are the best ones. So I think same things go, but similar we can't say exactly for the obviously for the visa interview, but because that's very different. But even if you plan, then also anything can happen. So I think it's better to share more and more information in today's episode so that our viewers can understand and can learn everything and be informed with all the pointers that they can have their visa in their hand. So yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that's a great thing. And also, guys, you can also join us as Nipas also mentioned by the link that has been mentioned on the comment section, and you can also dial us and on the given contact number that is on the screen, that is 425 436 6335, with the access code that is 988 888. And before jumping into our today's topic, I think it's always better to have a news update. So, yeah, let's begin with my very first news update. That is for US family based immigration changes. So, in 2024, the US has introduced faster processing for immediate relatives of US citizens, such as spouses and children under 21. So, however, the applicants in other family preference categories, like siblings of US citizens, may face some longer wait times. Moving ahead with Australia. So, Australia is reducing immigration targets. Australia has announced that plans to reduce its immigration intake for the coming years, with a target of 260,000 immigrants in the year 2025, down from 395,000 in the previous year. This includes measures to manage the number of international students that are admitted. Moving ahead with Canada. So, Canada is trying to lower the immigration goals. By Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has revealed that Canada is going to decrease its immigration target for the upcoming year to 395,000 permanent residents, down from the previous goal of 500,000. So, this reduction is part of a broader strategy to manage migration flows. Moving ahead with Mexico's immigration control measures. So, Mexico has agreed to halt the flow of migrants that are moving through its territory into the US. And this decision is a part of a broader agreement to tackle both migration and the illegal drug trade. It also marks a significant shift in Mexico's immigration policies. And that's all from my side. Moving ahead with Nebasa's news update.
Thank you so much, Sam. And yes, I too have one news update, and this is one of the latest, and I think it's a good one because US Embassy and consulates host Super Saturdays to cut visa wait times. I think, visa wait times have been bothering so many people out there and all these backlogs. So I think this is a good initiative. So the US Embassy in New Delhi and consulates in Mumbai, Kolkata, and Hyderabad have introduced Super Saturdays to address the high demand for visa interviews. And yes, these special Saturday operations are part of a broader effort to reduce wait times for first time visa applicants. So, in its fourth iteration, Super Saturday focuses on maximizing resources to conduct the highest number of visa interviews. And yes, Mark McGovern, Consul General at the US Embassy in New Delhi, emphasized the significance of these initiatives, noting that the US mission has already processed over 1 million visas in India this year. And to further streamline operations, the US Department of State has implemented remote processing for interview waiver cases and increased consular staffing in India. So, yes, the embassy highlighted that visa interview wait times across all categories have returned to pre pandemic levels or better, ensuring a smoother travel for Indians to the United States. So, folks, I think we will definitely have more updates on this as we uncover and as we see that wait times are getting reduced. And I hope this is going to bring a lot of change for, yeah, Indians out there, who have applied for US visas. But that being said, today's, topic is visa interviews. Did it go as planned? And folks out there, I know so many of you have applied for your US visa, different kinds of visa, whether you're a student or maybe it could be a work based visa, it could be a tourist visa, whatever it is, this could be your platform, So if you have any experiences, whether you got selected, rejected, or maybe you have something interesting to talk about your visa interview, please feel free to join us because we would love to know your story. And for that, there is this number on the screen. You can check it out and dial that number. Yes, thank you.
All right. So, yeah, I think Napasa, that's very well said. We would be really excited and happy to know our viewers' stories and experiences too, whatever they have experienced. So, guys, whether you have experienced anxiety before the interview or some unexpected questions or even surprises after the interview, then we would love to hear those stories from you and feel free to join us as Napasa only mentioned how. And also, yeah, I think absolutely. Now we should talk about our main topic that we are going to touch upon, that is visa interviews. Are they planned? So visa interview is a very major step in the immigration process. It seems like as if the whole process went well, and then just the last process that snatched away from your hand. So I think
Mhm.
Nepalsa, it seems like as if you're having your daily meal, and just at the last bite, you were actually trying so hard to prepare that meal, and then at the last moment when you were just on a bite and somebody snatched away that bite and says that oops, it was mine. So how frustrated, how bad that might feel, I literally can't imagine that. But I think you should also share some thing that how people might feel. I mean, anything you that you have prepared along and you have worked so hard, and then at last you felt that oops, it slipped out of your hand. How did you feel at that time?
I mean, talk about food, then, especially if you're savoring it, waiting for, keeping the best for the last bite.
Mhm.
I mean, that would, break my heart because I love food. But talk about a visa interview, I know we would plan it as much because, everything needs to be planned and has to be going accordingly, especially with everything that you would qualify for a visa. And with that being said, preparing, I mean, when you talk about visa interview, I think it is one of the last steps, right?
Right.
Before that is a lot of things like documentation, the whole process of filing different
Mhm.
kinds of forms, and then the payment, and then of course, last but not the least, comes the visa interview. So I think that also needs a lot of attention, and
Yes.
preparedness.
Yeah.
It's like almost like an exam because you have been preparing, and the whole year has gone by, and it's time, to show what you have prepared. So stuff like that. And
But even in
I think,
exam, at least you get that surety that if you have studied, then obviously you're going to get a passing marks. But in visa interview, it's all unpredictable. We can't predict anything, what happens and what will not. But I
So
think,
true.
yeah, that's good. Also, guys, I would also like to have a quick sneak peek of the visa process so that it will be clear for you to understand. So, firstly, you have to choose your visa type, and after that, you have to fill out the application. So, whether the application form is of DS-160 or DS-260, you have to fill it very correctly and with full, I would say, consciousness. So then you have to pay the fee, and after that, you have to schedule the interview. And after scheduling the interview, you have to prepare the documents, and then you have to attend the interview. And then after attending the interview, you have to wait for the processing. And if everything goes well, then you might receive the visa. Well, the process, we understood how it goes and everything. But the most important thing, the heart of the process, I would say, is the visa interview. And for applicants, this happens at the US Embassy or consulate in your home country. So, if we talk about visa rejections, then that can occur for variety of reasons, such as insufficient documentation or failure to prove non-immigrant intent, or also failure to meet the eligibility criteria for a specific visa category. But when it gets rejected at the last stage of your visa process, then it's like being so close to digging into your favorite thing and then someone swipes up. So, as me and Abbas already discussed about it, it literally feels like that. Anyway, so now I would also like to talk about some stats that each year millions of people apply for US visas, and variety of visa categories like B1, B2, F1, H1B, and also family based, employment based, etc. visas are being applied, and their approval and rejection rates for the US visa applications are different, are like vary significantly depending on the type of visa and also the years of what the or how the financial year of US is. So here I would like to share my screen and would say, just a second, I think due to some reason I am not able to share my screen, but that's okay. I will ask from the control to please share the screen if that's possible. Yeah. But anyways, guys, till the time the control is going to share the screen, I would also like to continue by saying that the number of US visas got rejected each year, and that varies depending on the visa category and the country of origin. But for instance, if we take fiscal year 2021, then the total, I would say, approximately 3,556 somewhere visas got rejected. So, these were the numbers were actually refused, and out of 3 million applications, they applied, and out of those, 3,556 visas got rejected. So, that's a number where we should look upon, and that's a number that, these many applicants got rejected. And according to US Department of State, also, the non immigrant visas such as B1, B2, tourist or business visas, then F1 or student visas, and H1B work visas, these actually estimate around 15 to 20% rejection rates. So I think these were the rejection rates that we understood, and maybe these were some of the important stats that we all should know, that out of how many applicants are actually applying and how many of them are getting rejected. So rejection and approval carries a huge difference between them. So many approvals are there, then so many rejections are also there. So I think, yeah, Nipasa, let's move ahead. And after understanding the stats of visa rejection and approval rate, let's move ahead and understand about the preparation of visa interview, how one can prepare for the visa interview so that, we can see less rejections in future.
Absolutely. I mean, preparing for a visa interview is, I think, one of the most common steps that people really pay good attention to, and that is, of course, first off is documentation requirements. Essential documents like DS-160 confirmation, appointment letter, passport, even financial proof, etc., are very important for this. And apart from this is also I mean, you may not think it is as important as it could be, but dress code and first impressions are also very important.
Yeah.
You know, how you present yourself professionally is important, and it is definitely going to, make an impression to the officer. And apart from that, of course, there is a practice and mock interviews. Just like for any kind of exam, we prepare so much. We even ask our parents to ask, can you just ask these questions and I'll try to answer. So
Right.
stuff like that. If you can prepare yourself for a mock interview, nothing like it. It'll be really good if you are thrown some questions and you see whether you can answer or not. And the more prepared you are, I mean, nothing better. It'll just make you more confident.
Right.
uh, yeah, that's that. And apart from all of that is also understanding the different visa categories, because different interview expectations, whether it is, if you're a student, it's going to be different. If you're going for work, on a work visa, it's going to be different. If you're going on a tourist visa, it's going to be different. And so is going to be different for a family based visa as well. So these things are what you're going to prepare yourself for. And of course, there are common questions which I could address, a little later in the show. uh, Different kinds of visa interviews could have, for you. And yeah, there are common challenges also during visa interviews. Of course, first off is nervousness and anxiety. And I would like to take up this question from Ishita, where she's talking about the same thing. If someone is nervous during the interview, does that make their chances of approval lower? Or how important is it to stay calm? And what's your advice for handling the stress? Ishita, I would just say for any kind of nervousness, you know, what works best for me, I don't know if it works for everyone, is breathing. Just
Yeah.
take deep, long, deep breaths, and let go. Whatever is really making you nervous, you tell yourself you've got it, and breathe and breathe. And after that, you'll feel that, yeah, you're feeling a little relaxed and you can go for it. I think
But
that works.
still, Napasa, anyhow, like we all can give some tips. We all can say that do this and do that, and then you'll feel relaxed. But some on the other, in your heart, you'll still have those, I would say, butterflies, or you'll still have something on the other that you'll keep on being that shaky or being that nervous. So, absolutely, we can take some help and we can do some on the other things also that needs to be followed, but
Sure.
still, even after trying so hard, then also I don't know whether you can be calm or not, but at least you can try to be calm. You can try
Yeah, and
to.
I think being a little nervous is good because it makes you feel like it is important. And
Right.
I think it's important to feel that sometimes. Not too much of it, of course, it's going to only shake your chances, maybe, you may not be able to say what you need to say also. So, I know being nervous during a visa interview is kind of natural and even understandable. Any kind of interview for that matter, but especially a visa interview, because
Right.
uh, your future depends on it, right? It's like a decision making interview, so you might as well put in everything that it needs. So I know no matter how nervous or no matter how typical, it is your chances to get nervous. But
Right.
maybe you can try out working more, on your communication and presentation when you feel like you're going to be very nervous. I mean, you know yourself better, right? I think many people out there have different levels of anxiety, especially facing the crowd or facing like an official or facing the examination for the matter. I mean, if you put in a class, if you look at a classroom of 60, everybody feels different in an examination,
Right.
right? So it's going to be same for any kind of interview. Put in 60 different people, they're all going to feel different levels of anxiety or nervousness. So
But I think, Napasa, this nervous level also depends upon the immigration officers as well. Because if
yeah.
there's a very lenient or there's a very, calming personality of immigration officer is sitting in front of that applicant, then I think that applicant automatically gets little calm. And that's little easy for the applicant to answer the questions because he won't be distracted. But if the
But
immigration officer, yeah,
what if like you're just judging a book by its cover? I mean, you're just judging the officer. Maybe he just looks strict, and maybe he could be I mean, one of the best, maybe, very warm and welcoming. But what if that person holds a real broad smile, but is actually going to reject I mean, your application anyway? What about that?
But I think there's nothing, guys. You shouldn't feel like that immigration officer has some personal problems or personal, issues with you. It's all about if you have proper documents, if you are able to prove all the requirements of your visa, why you need it, and if you are the correct applicant for that or not. Then I think immigration officers are very happy to welcome the applicants in their own country, and maybe.
You know what, Sam? I think one of the best ways is to let the person know, like that. First off, like you're nervous. Like,
Mhm.
hello, sir, I'm kind of nervous today. I mean, that would really relax you also, like letting the other person know that you're already nervous.
I think that may be, but I'm still thinking that if you're going to say something like this, then this may also be a little problematic because immigration officers are very much, crucial and very much suspicious about each and every point what the applicants are saying. They are very much observing each and every detail. So I think
Yes.
even if you're keep on, doing your hands and shaking your legs, I think these all are the things that may reject your visa because these shows that you are nervous. And some of the other people don't say that people are nervous only because of the interview. People are also nervous because they are trying to hide something, they don't want
Right.
to reveal something. So
Right. Right.
I think these are the pointers. Obviously they are immigration officers, they met millions of people around the world and they
Yeah.
know how to tackle. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, I think that's how everyone should be. You need to be calm, you need to be relaxed. That's
Yes, to be
important.
honest, most of all, to be honest, and be well prepared. I think being well prepared is going to actually reduce your nervousness by
Right.
quite a certain percentage, and it's going to improve your ability to communicate because when you're nervous, sometimes you stutter. You cannot tell things you really need to say. Maybe you
Right.
had it planned in a different way, and just like our topic today, maybe you planned it like that, but it didn't go that way because you were way too nervous. You couldn't say things that you needed to say, and it could, especially if you're very nervous, sometimes you forget. It makes you
Yeah.
forget some important details.
Right.
So maybe to avoid all that, you really need to try to not be that nervous, try to calm yourself down a little bit as much as possible, and I think being honest would work best.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. And I think, it's the most important tip of all. And I think visa officers are trained very well to detect the inconsistencies or dishonest answers. So if you're going to lie something or if you're going to hide something, I think at the end, visa officers are going to detect it and they are going to find it out. So instead of having that situation, I think it's better to be honest about your intention, why you are traveling, if you are traveling, or if you wanted to go for a work, if you want to study, if you want to have a visit. Then I think whatsoever your intention is, just be honest as much as possible. And as we said, if you are nervous, then it's okay, just stay calm, maintain eye contact and be clear in your responses. At least even if you're nervous, you try to hide that nervousness in front of your visa officer so that he can't detect it. Because see guys, everyone is nervous, every applicant is nervous, it's just the difference who tries to and who doesn't try to. So I think that's a very slight difference that we all need to understand. And yeah, I think we talked about that. And Napasa, I would also like to continue as you brought some very great points, how to prepare the visa interview. I would like to continue with you only that anything else or any other topic in preparation, how to prepare well for a visa interview. Please go ahead and share that topic with our viewers.
I mean, what I can highlight maybe are some of the common visa interview questions, in different visa
Yeah, that's good.
categories. I think that
Mhm.
way you don't have to wonder too much, what am I going to be asked, or stuff like that. So, for tourist visa, like tourist or visitor visa, like B1, B2 visas, they will ask, what is the purpose of your visit to the US? You have to be able to tell them. And another very important thing is, how long do you plan to stay in the US? You have to be able to tell them definitely, the time frame. like how long you planning to stay there, when are you getting back, and then of course other questions that follow are who will you be visiting or traveling with. If you're traveling alone, you say alone or with whoever, and what places you intend to visit during your trip. Everything you need to know beforehand. You can't be like, I'm just applying, I will plan later. You have to know by heart, because these are things that you're going to be asked in your interview, and you cannot say I don't know to the officer.
Yeah, I think that's a very a crucial point and a very small point, because most of the people specifically for tourist visa, they just have this thing in their mind that we are going to visit there, we are just going to visit US. They are not knowing the exact places where, and I think that plays a very important role specifically in front of immigration officer. So
Yes.
yeah, Anapas, I think you're doing great. Please go ahead. I'm loving it.
And yeah, they'll ask, do you have family or friends in the US? If so, they're going to ask where do they live, and you'll have to be able to give them their addresses. And apart from that, how will you fund
That's
your trip? Because going to the US.
Mhm.
Sorry, Sam. Like, tell me.
No, no, I'm asking. I'm being little surprised that even the address of those family members are being asked.
Yes,
Right.
everything will be asked. And you have to be able to give them every detail correctly,
Mhm.
because you never know. Once you tell them, the officer might just type in to check. And if it's wrong, well, there goes your chance.
Right.
And then, of course, how will you fund your trip? Can you provide evidence of your financial capability? And this being said, each and every bank detail, how much you have, how much balance your bank has, is going to be asked, and you cannot lie about it. You have to give them with proof. You have to answer them with proof,
Mm-hmm.
because going to the US is no joke. I mean, you really need good funding to be able to afford that trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, of course, what is your occupation and how does your job allow, for this trip? That's another question.
Yeah.
And another very important one which is asked is, have you traveled to other countries before? They're going to check your travel history. And this, I'm talking about, tourist or visitor visa, so B1, B2 visas. And then what ties do you have to your home country? Because they're going to make sure that you're going to return back to your country.
Yeah.
So these are some of the common questions asked, especially in a B1, B2 visa. And maybe I could go on for some of the others, whether it's a student visa or a work visa, a little later.
Yeah.
But Sam, if you have anything more to say.
Yeah, of course. I have a story. I am remembering a story, as you mentioned, about the financial uh, status during the stay. So, visa, I mean, immigration officers, they are going to ask about this thing. So, I'm remembering that there was a applicant, named Maria. I'm not exactly sure about the name, but there was an applicant, and she actually applied for a tourist visa from Brazil. So, she applied for a B2 tourist visa to visit the family in US. And during the interview, when the officer asked that what is the purpose of your visit, then Maria, she was very confident and she stated it in a very clear way that she's going to visit her sister. So, so when asked how she would support herself financially during her stay, so she at that time she struggled to provide clear evidence of sufficient funds or stable job in Brazil where she came from. So then she mentioned that how she going to manage her financial stay. Then she said that she is going to take help from her sister. Her sister is going to support her during the trip, and the officer at that time, they doubted the financial situation of Maria. So, uh, the visa after that unfortunately got denied, and under Section 214B, this addresses that failure to convince the officer of the applicant's intent to return their home country. So, even we can see that Maria had her real sister. And it's very obvious that obviously if you have your local guardian, if you have your sister, if you have your blood relation specifically in that particular country, then obviously it's very normal, that they are going to help you out in finance, they are going to take care of you. But even that, a very small detail, I think that took a very important notice from immigration officers, and they highlighted this thing, and then they realized that it's not going to happen for Maria, and that's how they rejected her visa. So I think these all are very small things that people usually ignore because they think that how they are going to have a financial stability in US. So it's you who needs to prove that you are stable. It's not that you have to show that your sister is stable, your friends are stable, or your husband is stable. You have to give a right
Yes.
evidence, right documents, and right everything. You have to prove them that yes, you are financially stable and you won't be having any problems so that you can return back to your country. And that's the major ending point that why immigration officers are so much worried about. So yeah, I think that's a story that reminded me when you talked about financial status. And
Yes.
yeah, Nepalsa, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very good story, I would say. And I'm sure maybe folks out there have similar stories. And if you have your stories or experiences with regard to visa interviews, US visa interviews, please join us. We would love to know your stories. Namrata Reddy, Mohan Das, thank you for joining us and your questions. Ishita also. Any of you, maybe you could just join us. All you have to do is dial in this number 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. Once you join us, just say hello. We'll be able to hear you. It'll be really nice to know your story, you know.
Right.
But yes,
I think, Nepasa, let's read some of our viewers' comments, right? So
okay.
I think we took Ishita's one, but let's take this one. What are the most common reasons that visa interview gets rejected? Are there red flags that people usually miss before their interview? So,
I think,
Mhm.
yeah, sure, sure. Sam, please go ahead. You were saying.
Okay, so yeah, I was saying that we already discussed some of the common pitfalls also and some of the important precautions that what an applicant should follow and should be ready with. But also, lack of documentation also, I think that it plays a very major role to, I mean, get a visa rejection. And
Yes.
in this, you have to make sure, friends, that you bring all the necessary documents, including your financial documents, your invitation letter. Even if you are going for a wedding to attend in US, then you have to show those invitation letters also. And obviously, the job offer letters. If you have applied for H-1B visa, then you have to show that yes, you got this offer letter or anything else like financial documents. I mean, all the specific documents, whatever you are thinking that's not needed, that's not important. No, that's important and that's very much needed. So yeah, and I think
Yeah.
mhm.
I could add a few maybe to what Sam has
Mhm.
said. Of course, insufficient documentation is one. You cannot miss out on anything, you know. And I would always say, you know, it's very important to have like an attorney because they guide you in the best way. Yes, that being said, also lack of strong ties to your home country. It's really important to, you know, demonstrate your return to your home country, especially with non-immigrant visas. And um, I think apart from that, also we have misrepresentation or inconsistent information. You know, maybe you may be asked one question twice, and if your answers don't match, it's really going to look bad on you. Providing false information or inconsistent answers during the interview can really lead to immediate rejection. So you have to avoid that. And of course, you know, as Sam has already mentioned, the financial standing, weak financial standing, is definitely could be one strong reason for your visa to be rejected.
Mhm.
And of course, overconfidence also. I mean, we were talking about being nervous and all that, but another thing is being overconfident, you know, or that is another thing that could look bad also.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think
Then,
yeah. Mhm.
of course, your history, you know, your travel history,
Right.
or if you have any legal violations in the past, these could be some of the reasons why, I mean, some of the red flags why you're, I mean, that you shouldn't miss, and why your visa could be rejected also. And yeah, I mean, Sam, if you have anything more to add.
Yeah, I think yeah, Napasa, you already mentioned major points, but I also want to continue with also inconsistent answers because most of the applicants they also they try to be honest and they try to be consistent in their response, but due to nervousness and due to not being calm and confident, they jumble their words and they say something else as if that doesn't make sense. So I think you shouldn't contradict the information on your application. You should be calm, you should stay always I mean, just try to be prepared. Just don't try to give lengthy answers, because immigration officers also doesn't like to. They like to have detail, but those details need to be specific. It shouldn't be like as if you are just dragging your answers. So it should be proper. I mean, straightforward, short and crisp. If that is, then it's very confident. It shows that you're very well prepared. So I think before having the visa interview, it's very important to practice some common questions. Obviously, you can't predict what the questions the visa officers are going to ask, but at least you can take a help from internet, or you can also take a help from attorney, as Napasa said. So
Great. That being said, we also have videos, which we have created on our channel where you can actually go. We ask the questions, we have options for you to answer, and these videos, could actually help you prepare for your interview. So please
right.
watch out our space. We are Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, and yes, we actually have these amazing videos which could help you out.
Absolutely. We do have a lot and lot of videos on this. And guys, do watch our channel, and also where we have several attorneys whom we ask different questions on different topics. So be consistent and be confident in your answers, and don't drag, don't be very much giving a huge details. Let's always have that preparation in your mind, specifically when you are talking about simple questions that what immigration officers can ask. That's very expected, that why do you want to travel the United States. So these are the questions that's very obvious that every applicant has to answer. Also, what is the purpose of your visit? Then about the financial status, how will you support yourself financially during your stay? And do you have your family members in the US, and what are your plans uh, after, I mean, what are your plans in US? So these are some of the basic questions that you can easily practice, you can easily answer. And I think that will open doors for you more and more for your US dreams. So that's how you have to be. And also, I would like to say something, Nipasa, that you also have to prepare your mind for rejection as well. Because if
Yes, undoubtedly.
because
You
see,
have
if
to have your plan B. I mean, if not US, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Yes.
absolutely, and that's how it should be. Because obviously we all know that you guys are planning and you guys are preparing so much, but even unfortunately or somehow if your visa get denied or
This is very interesting from Namrata. I think we should take this up.
oh sure.
So, I've seen applicants get denied because of minor details like inconsistent travel history. Can something as small as that really impact the decision? With this, I just remembered, I think it was from one of the attorneys or consular officers, I mean, from one of our shows. I remember, of course, inconsistent travel history could really lead to rejection. And
Mhm.
when you think how, it could be, if you have had frequent short stays in different countries,
Yeah.
frequent, I mean, this could lead to some sort of suspicion as well.
Hmm.
So that looks bad on you. Apart from that, also overstaying like a previous visa, that is definitely going to be one major point why it could have your visa rejected. And apart from that, mismatch between the application and travel records. So
Hmm.
maybe you forgot to mention that you had traveled to this country, but then your record says something else. Stuff like that could lead to visa rejection also. And frequent visa rejections could be another thing. So maybe you've applied earlier different visas for different countries, or this country itself, but you've had many of your visa applications denied. This could also look bad on you.
Hmm.
So yeah, that and also frequent travel without returning back to your home country could look bad on you. And that could really raise eyebrows on the officer and might be one of the reasons why you could have your visa rejected. So, Namrata, I think these could be some of the details which I don't know if you've looked at before, But yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And that's how, we need to be very much informative and need to be like updated with all the daily updates and with all the news that's happening around the world. So, yeah, I think we took Namrata. Now let's take Mohan Das' comment. And Mohan Das is saying that some people feel like consulate officers have already made their decision before the interview even starts. Is this true? Or
What do
is
you think, Sam?
okay, let me read out this one as well. Or is there still room for applicants to influence the outcome with their responses? See, this is what we were talking, that how people think that immigration officers, they have something on the other. I think absolutely not. It's not possible because they don't have any personal problem or personal. They are not sitting there to harm anyone or to have something on this. But they are sitting just for the sake to know all the details, to have proper documents and everything. If you're going to show them, then I don't think that he is going to change or harm something on the other by keeping his decision. So it shouldn't be like that. Obviously, maybe the immigration officers may be little harsh or straightforward. That may seems like little rude, but I think that's what their job is. If they won't be strong enough, if they won't be have that strong and little aggressive attitude, then I think even the liars, they are also not going to, they are also going to get the visas. So I think these are the few important things that I wanted to mention. And also to you, Nibasa, what do you think about this?
Well, Mohandas, I think I don't know how much you've heard or from whom you've heard, and maybe to a certain extent it could be true because the consulate officers have gone through, I mean, the details of you, and if you've had any reason, to be rejected, I'm sure they've already decided. But that doesn't mean that you don't have your chance or that they're not going to meet you or they're not going to hear you out. So, in those few minutes that you have with the consulate officer, the ball is on your court. How are you going to impress, or how are you going to change that decision, or how are you going to make him decide, to give you, to get your application accepted, your visa accepted and not rejected?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's how, we all should think. We all should think positive, and it's nothing to get scared. It's just their job, what they are doing, and it's just our job, what we are doing. So, yeah, I think now we also took some of the comments, and I think we have yeah, take in Ishita's comment, then Namrata's comment, and Mohandas too. And
Yeah.
also, guys, if you are still here and still wanted to share anything, your experience related to immigration visa interview, or any experience, it's not specifically about the interview, but any experience, if you want to share, then please go ahead and click on the link that is mentioned in the comment section, or you can also dial the number that is given on the screen. And I think, yeah, moving ahead, I also want to talk about how much it is important to organize the document. So, yes, visa officers want to see proof of everything. They are not going to rely on your words or on your what you say, but they are going to rely more on what you show. So you need to have your valid passport. You need to show your form, that is DS 160 for most non-immigrant visas. Then you also have to show the fee receipt, then the recent passport size photographs, and any supporting, I mean, all the supporting documents. Carry it with yourself, like financial proof, employment letter. If you're going for a work visa, then invitation letter. If you're going for a wedding or to visit or anything, that depends on your visa category. So I think all those things are very, very important to carry it. And you also have to double check all the specific requirements for your visa type on the US embassy website to avoid any rejection or surprises on the day of the interview. So it's better to double check all the documents, and even if something is missing, I think even a little document that can delay your visa process, or that can completely reject your visa process. So
Sam, you were saying like it's not important what you say, but documentation more. But I think both ways, I mean, both are very important. how you prepare yourself, what you're going to say, and whatever you have prepared in the documentation, everything has to be aligned. You it can't be like your documents have something else and you're saying something
Right.
else and you're over saying something else. Like it's also important not to over explain things and not to be overconfident like we had mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
So I think it's very important
Yeah,
to
I think
be,
that's, yeah,
yeah, on the same page together, with your documents and what you're saying to the consulate officer, whatever your records have, basically.
absolutely. That's how it should be. I think, yeah, I also need to say that it shouldn't be not only what you're not saying or what you're saying, it should be exactly the same how you speak and what you show. So I think both needs to be aligned, and yeah, I think then if everything is aligned and everything is systematic, then I think you'll be getting your visa. So I think
Hopefully.
that's, yeah, hopefully, of course, that's how it should be.
Yeah. All right. So, well, moving on, since I touched on tourist visas earlier, maybe I could give out a few common questions, asked during a visa interview for student visas, that is F1 visas. So, some of the common ones are, why did you choose this university or college? They will ask you that,
Yeah.
and you'll have to be able to explain that. And of course, the next is, what is your intended major and why are you pursuing this field? And
Hmm.
who's sponsoring your education? You have to be able to show proof on your financial capability, because as a student somebody is sponsoring you, right?
Hmm.
uh, it could be I
It
mean your
could be,
parents,
yeah,
or maybe you have what do you call those? Why am I missing out on that very
local,
important?
local guardian, you're saying.
No, no, I'm talking about scholarships. Gosh. Okay. Almost missed that.
No, no, that's
Okay.
it. You got it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
scholarships as well. So, yes. And then, have you been to the US before? And do you have any relatives in the US? These are some of the common questions, while on a student visa.
Mhm.
I mean, students are being asked. And then, what are your plans after completing your education? Because they want to make sure that you're coming back to your home country after your education is complete, or you're going to stay there for maybe some experience. You have to be able to say that.
Mhm.
And apart from that, why do you want to study in the US instead of your home country?
Yeah.
That's another question. And have you received scholarships for or funding from your university, like I mentioned earlier?
Hmm.
So I mean, this is also a part of sponsorship, right?
Right.
And apart from that, what do you know about the city where your university is located? So basically, it's very important to do your research properly, where you're going, why you're going, with what intention you're going, and for how long you're going to be there, and when
Hmm.
are you coming back? These are some of the, I mean, common things asked.
Hmm.
And of course, do you plan to work while studying in the US? If yes, then what kind of work? And that being said, you have to be able to give them the proper kind of answer, and you have to know if in your kind of visa whether you can work while being a student.
Right.
If you can't work, that's going to be an illegal activity and you're going to be charged for that in the US.
Hmm.
So stuff like that. And of course, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, Napasa, we should also talk about how well to dress during an interview, because this is a
Yes,
thing.
I think that was the first thing I mentioned, because it's very
Yeah.
important to present yourself properly. You have to know how to dress yourself and present yourself in
Hmm.
front of the officer. Don't want to be judged by what you're wearing. I mean, if it is too provocative, it's definitely going to create a bad impression on you.
Absolutely. That's how, and I think this, dress professionally and obviously be on time. I think this is a very major point that is very important for your visa approval. And I think your appearance matters during the interview. People say that looks doesn't matter. I completely disagree with this statement. Looks matters a lot, and especially when you are in a professional term and when you have to have a professional attire, then I think that matters a lot. And also, dressing neatly and professionally shows that you literally, I mean, absolutely take the process seriously, and you aim the business attire, even if it's a bit more casual than a formal fit, depending on the visa type. So you have to have a professional attire, you have to have a proper, neat, and clean uh, dress that you have planned to wear. And also remember to arrive at the embassy or consulate early so that you don't mess up anything. Arrive on time and shows respect that for the process, obviously, and ensures that you are calm and organized and disciplined. So yeah, I think also looking different and wearing a good attire shows that there's some culture difference as well, because US has a little different culture, but I think that's how it makes it beautiful. And yeah, anything else, Napasa, that you would like to add on this topic?
I think all in all, you just have to be able to do your research properly, prepare yourself properly. I mean, any kind of visa interview that is, so that being said, on the day of the interview, you can't keep everything for the day of the interview. I mean, sometimes we do that, right? When for
Right.
exams, just attend classes and we try to just do a revision before entering the examination. But I think that's not going to work this time, especially with regard to visa interviews. So be prepared and do your research properly. Be truthful. See that all the documents are aligned, and whatever you say, try to sound confident.
Mhm.
If you're feeling way too nervous, I said earlier, try to breathe and try to calm yourself down a little bit. But when you're prepared enough, your nervousness is automatically going to not be, I mean, on that exponential level, I guess.
Right.
So
That's right.
yeah, that being said, yeah, Sam, anything?
I think no, we have talked a lot about different topics today, and you also gave a very good conclusion of everything about today's topic. So I think yeah, it's almost time. I think we should wrap up now, and our all the information whatsoever we wanted to share with our viewers, we already shared. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Unipasa as well, for co-hosting with me and also sharing a lot of different information with me. I loved it and I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you so much to Pankaj, then Mohandas, Namrata, Ishita, everyone who has joined us today. And we hope you to see tomorrow at same time, Monday to Friday, with me and Napasa again. And Napasa, any bye-bye note you would like to share with our viewers?
I think that's it. I mean, you know, every experience is unique, I would say. Like I said earlier, if you put in a classroom, or I mean 30 people in front of us, everybody's going to feel different about one same thing, and that could be a visa interview. So every experience is unique. And folks, if you have anything to share, your story about visa interviews, US visa interview, we would love to know. Even if you're watching this after the stream has ended, please feel free to share your story, comment, and write to us what's your story. We would love to know. So that's it for today, I guess. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. And yes, as Sam has mentioned, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday to Friday, we come here with daily immigration dose on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We would love you to join us because every day we discuss on different topics. And thank you so much for today. I had a great time, Sam, and
Me
I'm
too.
sure, yeah, let me remind you, if you are preparing for any visa interview, watch out our space, because we have amazing videos prepared, where we have these common questions, which could be like a mock interview for you. We have questions with options, and maybe you could try to give the correct answer. So yeah, thank you for today.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye, everyone.